All right, Chris, looking at Arkansas this year, why don't you go ahead and start off? Tell me a little bit about their offense and how they did this year.
Yeah, no, Arkansas, major disappointment, Christian. We know they finished, 4-8 this year. Vegas had them at 7. I know I had them at probably 8 to start the season, but offensively, man, 26.6 points per game. That was 72nd in the country. Down year compared to last year where they averaged 33 points per game, Christian. That's quite a drop off. And this was the thing with Arkansas this year, which was very obvious. KJ Jefferson, we know he's in the transfer portal now, but I expected more out of him this year. Raheem Sanders, I mean, these guys tore it up the year before, just couldn't get it together this year offensively. Now, I know you're going to talk about the defense here in a second, but just an overall shitty year offensively for Arkansas. I know it's the SEC. It's a tough conference. You got to be able to put up points over there. Jefferson, again, I can't get over the subpar season for him. I really can't. He threw for only 2,000 yards, 19 TDs, eight interceptions. I expected way more this season out of him. Raheem Sanders. Now, some of that's to blame on the offensive line. They were pretty pitiful this year compared to the year before. But like I said, I know everybody's been pointing and laughing at me all offseason about how bad Arkansas was this year compared to the year before. But just lacked explosive plays too. I mean, who was their best receiver? You probably can't even name him. It was just tough, man. Sam Pittman, was on the hot seat, probably still going to be on the hot seat here up until next season. So, Christian, let me know a little bit about their defense, which I know was an issue this year as well.
Actually, I thought for most of the season, comparatively, right? I mean, you think about what they did last year, the defense was a bright spot for the Hogs. I mean, Chris, they finished 48th in total defense this year.
Okay.
So not bad. I think last year they finished in like the 90s, somewhere in there. They did their defense last year wasn't as good. They had a lot more big name players last year, such as Bumper Pool, some of those other guys. But this year they did a little better. The problem with their defense this year, Chris, was they finished 84th in points per game allowed. Which is why they folded, I think, down the stretch, giving up 48 points to Mizzou and Auburn, respectfully, there, right? The bright spots for the team this year were linebacker Jaheim Thomas. He finished with 90 tackles and 3.5 sacks. Safety, I think this is Alfeem Walcott. He led the secondary with the tackles, and he also had 3 interceptions, right? And lastly, defensive lineman Landon Jackson had 6.5 sacks, which led the team as well. Probably the biggest bright spot from the defense this year, Chris, was the game against Alabama, right? They held them to only 24 points. And Mississippi State, they only allowed 7 points this year. Looking at their overall grade, I'll go first on this one, Chris. I'm going to give them an F. Okay, now I love Sam Pittman, but 4-8, I mean, that isn't what he or the fans expected, right? They're coming off of a 7-6 and 9-4 seasons, right? So they're used to winning a little more. And that's not the Sam Pittman way.
Yeah, no, I'm close right there with you. My grade was a D-. Just with the expectations, they returned a lot of pieces, especially the 2 studs in Jefferson and Sanders offensively. But you said it, yeah, and I was a little off on their defense. Their defense wasn't near as bad as it was the year before. The offense took a step back. So, yeah, Sam Pittman, this year's going to be interesting coming up in 2024, what he's going to have to do. But overall, yeah, D-, Christian.